Alright, well, it's like 40 degrees, 41 degrees. And, you know, I'm not much of a cold weather rider. You know, there's people I subscribe to and follow on YouTube, and I'm just impressed. They get out and ride their dirt bikes in mud and snow, and they ride their adventure bikes in mud and snow. And I'm just going to tell you, I'm impressed. I'm not going to do it, but I'm impressed. I mean, looks like they're having fun, at least until they got to clean all that stuff off their bike. You know, but it looks like they're having a blast. They're like, oh, this is fun. And it kind of looks fun, but I've been there, done that. I'm like, man, besides being cold, being cold and it being muddy and wet, and yeah, I don't know, you know, I'm just like I said, it's 41 degrees. That is a tolerable temperature. I wouldn't say it's tolerable for 5 hours. I would say after a couple of hours, you know, you'd be like, yeah, I don't know if I want to be doing this anymore. But, I'm just out here, you know, those guys inspire me, so I'm just out here getting a little quick ride in, and ranting on my video. So I probably sound muffled because I'm talking through a Blackula. And it's getting in my mouth while I'm trying to talk, so. And there's lots of wind out here. I think I shut the vent on the front of the helmet, but I guess I'll find out when I get home and listen to the video. Maybe I had a little bit of a bounce in my front wheel, or the back wheel. I mean, I would imagine it's still there. It starts happening over 65 miles an hour. It's not really feeling like it's there now. I did take the front wheel off again, and you know, was adjusting the rim, and I moved the tire on the rim a little bit, and I checked the balance the way I did with the axle. And at the moment, you know, maybe it's not bouncing and vibrating as much. I'm not sure. Once I get down here to where the speed limit is 65, I'll pick it up. I'm expecting it to still bounce a little bit, but we'll see how that is. You know, I've got heated grips. I got this windscreen up here which blocks some of the airflow from buffeting my helmet around and keeping the wind off my chest. I think I've got to cut a hole in this bocula. You know, anytime you open your mouth, it wants to go inside your mouth. That's one thing they didn't do was put a little hole so you could talk. Seemed like they would have put a little hole there, you know. But I might have to do that myself. Because it just, you know, it wants to go into your mouth like you're chewing on it. I guess they expect you to keep your mouth closed and not say anything. I'll have to write a review on their website, I guess. Hey, how about a mouth hole? Put a zipper in it or something. Unzip it so you can talk, zip it up, or Velcro or something, I don't know. But at the moment, seems like it's better. Not perfect, but it doesn't seem like it's bouncing as much. So, yeah, so at, you know, it's bouncing right there, so I feel like I got it a little bit better, so it's not as bad as it was, but still a little bit unbalanced. Not horrible. I mean, I'm going the speed limit, right? So again, if I took the front wheel off, maybe took it to a bike shop to get balanced. that bocula out of my mouth. That's ridiculous. Yeah, it's kind of stupid to try to talk with the bocula on when it's going in your mouth. You're just chewing on cloth. Yeah, so I guess if I take my front wheel off and take it in and balance that, I think it's mostly the front wheel, probably. You know, I mean, of course, there'll be highway miles put on this. A lot of times you ride the highway either to come home or to go to a place to ride. And, of course, it wouldn't be bad just to ride it on the highway, you know, traveling. And of course, you don't want the bouncing. You know, that would get old after an hour or so if you're traveling for 8 hours or something. You know, having the front just wobble up and down for 8 hours would be pretty annoying. Doesn't do that, you know, when you're at 65, 68. You don't feel it. It's when you get up over 70 now. It's like right there. So I might do that. Take the front wheel in, have them check it for balance. Pretty sure it's the front one, not the back one, but who knows? If it doesn't go away with the front getting balanced, then I'll take the back in. Like, I have no issue with balancing my dirt bike tires. I can balance those like super good. I don't know why the bigger, heavier tires and rims would be harder to balance than the lighter ones, but it seems like it is. Harder to get them just exactly right, I guess. I don't have an issue driving 65 miles an hour. It's usually all my buddies that I ride with that want to go 75, 80. I'm like, the speed limit is 65. Go 65. You know, and the bike doesn't bounce all over the place at the speed limit. You know, I'll probably wear these tires out this spring and summer. They're probably not going to last too long. They're 80-20 tires, so 80% dirt, 20% highway. And that could be another reason why they're bobbling. You know, they're not 50/50 tires. So they're pretty much knobby tires. It's the same kind of knobby tire on the back that I ran on my dirt bike, both front and back. They're the same kind of knobby tires that I ran on my dirt bikes. So that could be the other reason why they're vibrating, is they might not be out of balance, they just might be knobby tires. So. And the other thing is, I have a few GPS tracking programs, and I kind of favor one of them, except that the one I favor only exports a file in a GPX format. So I'm trying one of my other programs that lets you export it in quite a few different formats. So you can export it as a GPX file, a KML file. There's another one, KM. There's another type of KM file. And a couple other formats. So they give you multiple formats to export it. Google Earth likes KML files. You cannot import a GPX file into Google Earth. So you can only use a KML file. So anyway, I'm just checking it out. Okay, well, my brakes seem to be working good. I feel like I'm screaming into my microphone because that wind noise, I can hear it really loud in my helmet. So I think I have another friend I met on one of our last group rides who wants to do a lot of riding with me this spring and summer. However, he doesn't have a dirt bike. He has an adventure bike. He has two adventure bikes, but they're, you know, a Yamaha Tenere and a Harley Davidson. They're both adventure bikes, but those are big bikes, you know. So you know that I don't do a lot of rides on my adventure bike, especially by myself. I do have a bike jack that I bought to be able to lift up my KTM much easier when I'm by myself. I've only had to use it once, but I did have to use it once and it worked just fine. You know, you gotta take it out of your pack, you gotta unload it from its pack, you gotta put it together, you gotta put it correctly on your handlebar, and then you gotta jack up your bike, you know, to a height where it's easy to lift up, and it works good. And then you gotta put all that stuff away. So, you know, it's probably a 30-minute process if you drop your bike by yourself and you're picking it up by yourself. probably like 30 minutes. But you're not pulling any muscles, you're not doing back strain, you're not getting winded, you know, you're just getting your bike up off the ground. And I did that so that I could ride my KTM more by myself. You know, but I'm really, I really lean toward dual sport motorcycles, you know. You know, my Husqvarna 350, my Honda XR 400. You know, even though this bike would be more convenient to go from Dayton to Las Vegas on, you know, comfort-wise, and being able to carry all my equipment. You know, camping gear, food, sleeping bag, all that stuff without any issues. You know, it's still heavy, and there's a lot of rough terrain out there, so it means you're gonna go along slower on this bike than you would a dirt bike. You know, but I'll probably be riding this bike more this spring and summer and going on trips, longer trips, and just camping. Maybe, hopefully, a lot of camping. You know, it should be fun. I mean, I really don't. The only thing that I'm lacking, you know, as far as motorcycle gear goes, is a riding jacket and maybe riding pants. You know, I can use, in reality, I can use my snowboarding pants for riding pants. So the pants aren't really an issue, but I do need a nice motorcycle jacket. So, you know, I've got a couple motorcycle jackets, a leather one, and a you know, the cloth ones with armor, but I pretty much can't wear anything under those jackets. So wearing like this puff jacket, windbreaker underneath my motorcycle jacket, it doesn't fit. Or if I can get it zipped up, you know, I feel like the Michelin tire guy. I do have work jackets that I can wear, but, you know, you want armor. The work jackets aren't armor, so I could probably wear armor under the work jacket because I have an armored vest, but it's not as convenient as wearing an armored jacket, you you know, that already has the armor in it, so. So, you know, everybody speeds, right? So, you know, I'm speeding. The speed limit is 65. I'm speeding, but I'm getting passed like I'm sitting still, right? So I'm going 68 to 70, and these people are passing me at 75, 80. You know, so everybody speeds. You know, you get some cars out here going 90 miles an hour. They don't care. So here's where Fort Churchill comes out. You know, you see that all the time on my videos. So that's the dirt road that goes over to Dayton. 22 miles. It looks like I need to fill up with gas. I'm less than half a tank now. You know, I got a car coming up my butt that's gonna try to run me over when I'm trying to turn, and trucks and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, this road is like crazy busy now. Pony Express Trail. Yeah, so we're just gonna do a little FYI check. Okay. Need to tighten the chain a little bit. Alright, so we got 30 minutes of video already, and we're here at Buckland Station. And I probably won't rant all the way back. That'll be an hour-long video for Highway Ride, and you've seen it 100 times before, so. So anyway, I think my front tire's doing better. It does seep air still, for anyone who watched the other videos and wanted to know. It still seeps air from my rim dent that I had. I think that's where I fixed it, right there. But I straightened it out, and I can't tell you for sure. I think it leaks maybe a half a pound of air a day, maybe not that much, but probably about a half a pound, which to me isn't bad, because if I'm riding out in the dirt, I'm one of those guys who air down and air back up, and so I'm changing my tire pressure all the time anyway. So, anyway, we're going to get back down the road. I feel a little bit better about getting out on the motorcycle. Oh, look, it's 44 degrees over here. Nice. I know all kinds of people like to do reviews on their motorcycle. You know, 1 year honest review. I think I've had this bike for 3 years now, maybe 4. Gosh, I can't tell you for sure. 3 or 4 years. You know, I've got 14,000 on it, and so I bought it used from the motorcycle dealership. The owner of the dealership was the owner of this motorcycle, and I don't think he rode it very much either, because he was kind of new to off-roading. So anyway, I bought it with a lot of accessories. When I bought it, I didn't experience some of the issues that people talked about, like, you know, they say when you put it in off-road mode and then turn the bike off and turn it back on, everything's defaulted back to road. Mine never did that. Mine always stayed where I put it, so I don't know if there were special settings, you know, that the owner of this bike, being the dealer, could change. You know, I heard that dealerships can do things in the computer to the bike that regular people cannot do, so I don't know. But the only problem I ever had with this bike, and it was probably my fault, and I'm pretty sure it was my fault, is, you know, you ride bikes without seal savers on them, something to cover the seals on the fork, and you ride them off-road when there's mud and rain and snow. You ride them off-road and get mud all over your forks. You're gonna ruin your seals. If you don't have your seals covered with seal savers, you're gonna ruin your seals. So that's the only thing that's happened to this motorcycle. And one other thing, one of the frame bolts that holds the tank over here was broken because of the crash bars that I bought the motorcycle with. It had those bolt-on crash bars that stick out, big orange ones, and I didn't crash the motorcycle, but I dropped the motorcycle, and dropping the motorcycle broke one of those bolts. So they had to tap it out and put a new bolt in it, is what they told me. The bolt is different than the original, so I think they tapped it out a little bit bigger and put a bigger bolt in it. But so those are the only two things that I've experienced. For the most part, I like the way the bike rides. I like the way the bike handles. The suspension is awesome. As far as traveling, I mean, I went across Nevada on the backcountry discovery route. The bike was comfortable. I carried all my gear on the back, and that didn't feel like it was cumbersome or screwed up the handling. Everything about the bike, I mean, I like it. I would ride it if I didn't have so many issues picking it up off the ground in the dirt. I can pick it up fine off the asphalt, but I can't pick it up in the dirt with my boots sliding in the dirt. So that's why I bought the bike jack. But for my review of the bike, I know most people who had 790s traded up. They traded up to the 890. So they went from the 790 to the 890, and I'm like, can you outride the 790? I mean, it's intriguing, like, right? You know, the newer, better, go trade my bike in for an 890 because you got 100 more cc's, you got 10 more horsepower. I don't know. I mean, can you really outride 94 horsepower on a 790? Okay, so I passed 3 cops in the last mile and a half, 2 miles. It must be shift change, and they're going back to Yarrington to call it their shift or something. Excuse me. But anyway, there's another one. Yeah, it must be shift change. Okay. What'd I say? That's 5 cops in the last 2 miles. I mean, it's not too bad out here. 39 degrees now. Yeah, the sun's falling, the temperature's dropping. I mean, I got heated grips. They're not on super high, but, you know, the tops of my hands are cold. The palms of my hands, they feel great, but the tops of my hands, yeah, I can feel it. They're cold. The tops of my legs are cold. You know, but right now my chest is good. Not as good as when I left the house, but I'm still good. Probably be good for another hour before the cold started bothering me, but you know, another hour it's gonna be in the 30s. I'm not gonna be out here for another hour. I'm going home. But anyway, I know it's not much of a review. I bought this bike with a lot of extras on it. I didn't get any brakes on the extras. They definitely charged me for all the extras like they put them on brand new. But really, all of the extras they put on this bike, I would have done differently. Every single one of them. Yeah, now it's colder. I'm riding against the wind. Against the wind. So that's a song. Yeah! Against the wind. Now I feel it. Yeah, it's a lot colder going this way west than it was going east. So as I was saying, the bike came with heated grips. Well, that's great, but you have to let go of the handlebar, hold the button. You just don't push it. You gotta hold it to turn it on so you don't accidentally turn it on. And you gotta hold it to turn it off. But you gotta let go of the handlebar, right? There's a company that makes grips that have the switch right here. You know, right off the grip. So I know you have this here, but that could have moved over and you have the, you know, the heating switch right next to the grip. So you just push it here without letting go of the handlebar. It came with the big orange crash bars. And like I said, it broke one of the tank mounting frame bolts when I dropped the bike. So I bought the AXP skid plate that protects the tanks. I think that's right, AXP. I don't know. It says on it, but I'll have to look at it. Anyway, I changed the skid plate. And I took off, you know, those crash bars. They weighed like 10 pounds, maybe more than 10 pounds. 10, I don't know. They were heavy. And then they had driving lights on the crash bars. So they had mounted driving lights, PIAs, that were on the crash bars. They were kind of low on the road, so they didn't shine down on the road. They kind of shined out, so they weren't as helpful as you would think they would be, because they were like super low. But anyway, you know, when I dropped the bike, on the crash bar, you know, it twisted the light all up and I had to straighten that out. So, and now you know, there's no place to mount them because they were crash bar mounted PIA lights. So, you know, I need to get some Cyclops lights, you know, that mount up here. They make them especially for the 790/890. You know, and those would work out better. So pretty much all the accessories that they put on this bike and charge me for, to me, I wouldn't have spent money on any of those because they're inconvenient. You know, taking your hand off the handlebar. I know it's a split second, but, you know, you still got to do it. I don't think that's very safe. Especially if it's raining or, you know. I put the other heated grips on my little Duke 390 and they were the bomb. They worked really good. You just push the button right here with your thumb, up or down. You never let go of the handlebar. But anyway, you know, I don't ride this bike off-road enough that I'm like, yeah, I should change my mirrors to the folding mirrors. You know, I'm not a super single track. I'm not a super, I'm going to do all these tricks on my 790, so I might break my mirrors. You know, and I'm just going to tell you, I actually like plastic handguards better than aluminum handguards. You know, usually when you crash and you distort a plastic handguard, you can pull it back into position. And when you crash and you distort an aluminum handbar, it's staying that way until you take it off and put it in a vice clamp. So, I'm not against aluminum handguards, you know, with the aluminum in them, but I've had more luck with the plastic ones than the aluminum ones. I mean, you could crash on this hard enough it just blows it to pieces, whereas aluminum might just bend, but you could bend an aluminum one so bad you can't use your lever unless you get it out of the way, so I don't know. But anyway, I pretty much love this bike. You know, it's pretty good for me. I like the way it rides, like the way it handles. Got plenty of room on the seat. And I don't really see a reason why I would have ever needed to upgrade to an 890. In a way, I kind of don't like the way the new 890s look. They're not that much different from the looks on this one, but I just like the way this one looks better. So I may get a graphics kit for it and change the graphics, the way the graphics look. But I don't know. I mean, I've been happy with it. I rode one Tenere. I didn't ride it for very long, but I'm like, it's okay. This bike has so much more power than a Tenere. Like I said, not like you need so much power, you know, because you see all the things they do with a Tenere, you know, so it's not like, oh yeah, I need that 94 horsepower over the 70 something horsepower a Tenere has. You don't, but is there more horsepower? Yeah, there's a lot. That horsepower makes a difference. I mean, it's there. You know, most of the time for me, if I'm off-road on this bike, I'm just in off-road mode. If I'm on long two-track roads, I'll put it in rally mode, but yeah, putting it in rally mode with all the horsepower on tap, the thing just rips. I mean, it's crazy how fast it is, so yeah. So anyway, that's my rant. It's kind of a you know, just a seat of the pants review about what I think about my 790. I haven't ever ridden an 890. I don't even know if I could tell the difference. What I've heard is people say that the 890 has more torque on the lower end, but it feels like the 790 revs out farther. I don't know. Like really the only thing, or Or the things that I did different to this bike was I put on seal savers after my seals got ruined from the mud. I put on that AXB skid pan. I think it's an AXB. And I changed counter shaft sprocket so I would be geared lower. And that made this bike so much more rideable for me. I mean, I can't tell you. You know, I guess I would just say if you're doing a lot of off-road riding, for me, you know, changing one tooth on the counter shaft sprocket so it's geared lower was huge. So much better, way better. And I don't think it's bad on the highway, but you know, if you do more highway miles than off-road miles, leave the gearing the way it is. And if you have an 890, it probably doesn't matter anyway, because supposedly it has more low-end torque. So you don't care. You wouldn't care about gearing it down anyway, but gearing this thing down just made it more usable for me. I mean, around my house, and going to Carson City and riding to Gardnerville, you know, there's a lot of 35, 45, 50 mile an hour speeds, and gearing that down even made it better to ride on the street. And then in the dirt, it's night and day better. You know, so before, you know, when you're going 60 miles an hour and you want to accelerate, I would always kick it down to fifth, you know, and speed up, and then shift up to sixth. But sixth always felt like you had to be going 65 miles an hour or faster to use six gear. You know, now I feel like I can use 6 gear, like all the way down to 50 miles an hour. But all right, this is just the rant video. And like I said on my last video, I believe, my last ride video, got a lot of going on in the world, got a lot of going on in the USA. Don't be complacent. Keep praying for our government and our world leaders. Keep all that stuff in prayer every day. Don't get complacent. Prayer never goes unanswered, and prayer always changes things. So keep the prayers going out, and hopefully the temperature will start rising so I can get some rides in. I know there's mud and water out there, so because it rained recently, so I didn't want to go out and get muddy today on the big bike. So anyway, God bless. Talk to you soon.